RV parks aren't failing because of bad locations. They're failing because owners have no clue what their property is actually worth. And your pricing strategy is the deciding factor. For years, I've watched park owners guess their rates, copy their neighbors, or completely overlook the value drivers that determine what their park should be earning. And here's the reality. In today's market, mispricing your nightly stays or long-term site isn't just a small mistake. It can cost you tens of thousands a year or wipe out the true value of your park entirely. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to price your RV park or resort the right way before you accidentally leave a mountain of profit on the table or lose everything. Listen, we've got a couple different types of parks. So we're going to go over a couple different ways of pricing and/or how to figure out how do I price my RV park or resort. We're going to start off with what I think is actually the biggest trend right now, which is long-term RV stays. The reason people are finding this corridor of the RV park sector really fascinating is because, well, really, it's economic bulletproof. When there's bad economy, hard times, people move to affordable housing, affordable living with less vacations. RVs are becoming a huge trend in the affordability sector. So, long-term RV parks is a big deal with investors right now. They find it a safe place to lay their eggs. And I mean, I can't complain about that. Even though I like the campgrounds and I believe that we have a very unsaturated market of RV resort campgrounds and nightly stay parks that are actually RV and customer experience driven, I really do believe that there could be a lot of success in the long term stays with RV parks. So let's talk about how we can price them accordingly. Well, first off, the long-term range that I'm seeing out there can go anywhere from 350 all the way up to $1,350 I'm seeing. Now, I'm not sure that $1,350 a month for you to park your RV is necessarily an economical, appropriate way of living, but that doesn't matter to some people. They just enjoy living in an RV. And, if they can find a luxury apartment style complex for RV parks with pools and all the amenities, then great. And at the end of the day, if you like it, I love it. So, how do we price and how do we know what to charge? There's several factors. First thing we're going to talk about is location. When it comes to long-term living, people want to be near a highway, near a metroplex, near stores, near convenience. Just like most people don't want to live out in the rural areas of America in their house, it's the same with an RV. Now, there are some people that do, and we'll talk about that. But most people still have to work, still have to live. And so, much like when they're looking for a house, when they're looking for a space to park their RV, they're looking for something that is convenient because they are still going to have to drive to work every day. So, first things first, the closer you are to a city or even a large city, the higher you can price your monthly stays. Let's think about that. It's kind of like an apartment complex that is in the city compared to an apartment complex that is out of the city. It's going to draw two very different types of people. So, people who live and work in the city, they're going to want to be near a city. Okay? So, once again, it's convenient. Convenience factors in a higher price. So, location and proxy of where people can work and live is definitely going to see a benefit in the price. Now, amenities. Amenities are a huge thing. We all know this. Amenities are great. But some people aren't looking for amenities, and they rather have a lower cost of living than have the amenities with a higher cost, especially if they're looking at it from an economic standpoint. So, not everybody's looking for the luxury, apartment complex style RV park. Some people just need a nice place to park within the vicinity of a metroplex or the city that they work in, have convenience and stores and gas stations near, and, be able to live a convenient and affordable lifestyle. Now, on the other spectrum, the other person that wants all the amenities, just like all these apartment style complexes these days and master planned residential communities have huge pools and all the amenities to go with it. And even though statistically most people don't use the amenities, they still want the option and they like having the option to be able to do so whenever they like. So, the more amenities, the higher you can price your RV park. Now, what kind of RV parks drive better pricing and occupancy rates? Right now, I'm seeing a lot of long-term RV parks that are building fences in each of their sites. When it comes to long-term living, I actually see this as a great plan. People want privacy. People want their own area. So, one, it helps hide all of the riffraff that people tend to put around their RV when they live in them little by little, not just their barbecue grill, but their kids' bicycles, etc. So, the fences help really hide that, once again, giving exclusive privacy. Now, to me, sometimes the fences can make the sites feel a little bit more enclosed, but I'd rather be looking at the fence than the next door neighbor's RV. And what's usually on that site is a septic tank, which we've talked about in site placement in some of my other videos. So make sure and go check those out. But I'm seeing a lot of these parks with fences and gates with zero amenities. People just want a nice, private, convenient place to park their RV. Your dog, that's another thing. 50% of RVers have dogs. So the fence is great for people who have dogs. They are absolutely chewing it up. No pun intended. Dogs are amazing. Animals are amazing. So if we can make our life more convenient with our animals, we're going to. So, what other factors help when it comes to pricing these long-term parks? So in the Dallas-Fort Worth, which is, my main area that I'm in, Dallas-Fort Worth, we're seeing these private fenced-in sites going anywhere from $500 to $750. Now, that's without amenities. And when I say without amenities, no laundry facilities, no bathrooms, no showers, no pools, no Wi-Fi center, none of that. So 500 to 750 really is not a bad price point when you're not building out amenities. And I'm not seeing any of these guys with concrete roads or, expensive metal fences. Some of them do have individual gates, nice gates for each RV site, and then parking out front. But if you add amenities, something like that is going to range $750 to all the way up to $1,350. We're seeing it. Now, with amenities comes a higher upfront cost, so sometimes that's just not feasible. If you have a big enough property, you can roll things out in phases. Maybe roll out 50 fully fenced sites with zero amenities, but with a plan on second phase after your park has stabilized and after your park is cash flowing and after your investors are starting to see a return, then we go spend more money on the second phase. And with that second phase, we're going to go ahead and add in our amenities. What that's going to do is that's going to, one, help us increase current rents. Two, Now we can drive a higher asking price for our new sites that are coming in because they're going to have amenities. So I hope this helps a little bit when it comes to the long term stay. Now, you don't have to have fences for it to work. Long term stay parks work great. Now, check with your city. A lot of cities do not allow people to stay longer than 60 and 90 days. Yes, you heard that right. There's a lot of cities that are doing that. So you have to make sure and do your due diligence to make sure that the city that you want to build in will allow long-term living in RVs. Sadly, it's not accepted everywhere. So do your due diligence on that. Don't make a mistake and hit the ground running before you're aware of, you know, the status of that with your city. Okay, so now we're going to move on to nightly stays. Now, nightly stays are some of my favorite. Um, yes, a lot of people say, oh, you got to be near a highway. Well, I really, really disagree with that. Now, you do have to be near a city. Now, that's one of my determining factors if an RV park is going to make it, or if I'm going to build it, or if we're going to invest in it. It has to be close to a city. Why is that? Well, most people just look at an RV park as a passive income. I look at it as a business, an operation. And any business and operation means what? Staff. Where are you going to get staff if you're not near anything? I mean, we all want to be out in the boondocks, but let's be real. That doesn't always work. You can't just rely on one person that you find in a small little town that's willing to operate your park. What happens when they're not operating it correctly and you have to replace them and there's no one in the vicinity to replace them? Don't let your operation be reliable on one source. Be very careful. Unless you're an owner operator, go build it wherever the heck you want. And hopefully you do your market due diligence and see that, that area could use an RV park. I'm not saying an RV park out middle of nowhere can't work. A lot of times you can make the residents that are staying there, managers, landscapers, people will work rent off. Okay. But you're only relying on the people that are actually living at the park. And sometimes that's a double-edged sword. So nightly stays do not have to be on a highway. They do not have to be in a city. They just have to be near somewhere close enough that you can staff people. Now, let's get back to the pricing models for these. We're seeing nightly stays anywhere from $25 a month all the way up to $150 a night. Now, we're not talking about big motor coach places with casitas and pools at your individual lots. Those can run into the hundreds, if not thousands, to stay a night at some of those motor coach communities, if you're lucky to even get a space. But the average RVer, like I am, is going to be 25 to 150, and the average out there right now is around 55 to 65 a night. So how do you price it on that level of scale? 25 to 150? I mean, it's a $125 a night spread. Well, once again, we're going to go back to access, amenities, and what kind of activities. This is nightly. People are coming to camp. They are coming to stay. Unless you just have a purely transient, stop in for 1 or 2 nights because it's on the way to an actual destination. But if you have a destination nightly stay, activities, events, and rentals are all going to go into this factor, and every park is unique to its own. And that means it needs a unique pricing model, okay? Do not overprice your nightly stay. You will scare away your people. And if you're building your nightly stay your adventure park, your resort the correct way, you're going to have amenities and rentals that you can, well, drive extra value and profit to your RV park. So I want to give an example. This is happening in tons of parks, tons. You pay $65, $75 a night to stay, and then the people pay $95 a day to rent a golf cart. Did you hear that correctly? Rent a golf cart. They're paying more per day to rent that golf cart than they are to stay at your RV park or resort. That's crazy. Most people aren't even factoring their rentals into their pro formas. So most investors are just, hey, let's just look at the nightly stay and see what we can accomplish. Well, some of my parks that I'm involved in are making more money on their rentals than they are on the nightly stay. Kayak rentals, canoe rentals, paddle boat rentals, golf cart rentals, mountain bike rentals. All of these can really, really drive a bigger bottom line for your RV park. So don't think that you have to price your nightly stay park at a very high rate. Think about where can you make it up? Because at the end of the day, if you don't get them to drive in, well, you're going to drive yourself out of massive amounts of profits. So you can always raise your rents once you get full. That's a good problem to have. Okay? Let's get it full. Let's get people in the door. Let's get some good reviews out there. Let's get the community talking about your place. And then we can drive a higher nightly rate. But at the end of the day, you're not looking for a one-hit wonder. You're looking for people to come back and back and back. So don't overprice yourself out of the market. So how are you going to be able to charge $150 a month? Well, or $150 a day, excuse me. You're going to have luxury amenities. You're going to have resort style pools. You're going to have, lazy rivers, pickleball courts, concrete roads and pad sites. Uh, I mean, it's got to be the Hilton of RV parks if you want to charge $150 a night. So you're going to spend 3, 4, 5 times more to build your park than most other places, but you're able to charge twice as much. So does that make sense to you? I don't know. To each his own. Every park is different, and every person, wants to build a different type of park. So who's the $25 a night? $25, $35 a night? All you're doing is laying utilities and putting out gravel roads and gravel sites. Now, maybe you have a little hut with a laundry facility because, people love the laundry facilities. And if you do coin operated, well, it's another way to generate some extra revenue. But if you're between that $25 and $45 a night, you're most likely just a gravel park. Not any amenities, not much to do, but it's a place to park. And, maybe it's not a destination park and people are actually just coming to that area because there's a lake or a state park near that people want to visit. And in that case, well, you don't need to put the amenities at your place because nobody's looking to stay there to begin with for the amenities. They're looking to come to your park for the surrounding area of things to do. So that's also a different way to approach the marketing of your park and what kind of park you want to build. Because, maybe you're not the destination. Maybe you're just the place to park. And at that point, you can build a very inexpensive RV park. You still want to keep it super clean, super nice. Use the correct compaction methods when you're building your roads because if you don't do gravel right, it's going to haunt you long term with these big RVs driving all over them. Rain, the whole 9 yards. It's just still do it right, even if it's gravel. Please, please, please. That'll help your pocket in the long term. It may cost you a little bit more up front, but it's going to make you more in the long term. And if I can get rid of, help you get rid of some headaches, then I'm happy to do so, because that's been a headache for me before. So live and learn, or watch these videos and learn until you have to live through the mistakes. So that's a big difference between 25 and 45 and the $150 range. You're going gravel to resort. Huge difference. Okay. Now, once again, what about your competitors? That's another way to pull comps. Just like you would if you were selling your house, what are you going to do? You're going to look around the neighborhood. You're going to see what other houses are selling for, what they sold for, and that'll help you get an idea of where you can price. Make sure and do your due diligence and your market research to see what other campgrounds and RV parks and resorts are pricing their model at. I mean, if you've got somebody with a high-end luxury, you know, RV park and you're building a gravel park and they're only at 75 a night, don't think that you can do 65 or 75 a night and get the same results. You're going to have an empty park that is worthless. Build it and they will come is not a method to build on. Okay. Even if that park is 100% full, you may get maybe get a couple people, but at the end of the day, they're 100% full because they have a great price, great amenities, and, loads of activities to do. Okay. So, you know, build a base on your competitor market as well. So, close to a city, because you need to staff it. Do competitive market research to make sure that you're not, pricing yourself out of the market, and also that you're not underpricing, because that could be leaving, huge money on the table. Um, and, at the end of the day, if it's a new park, just don't overprice it. Get people coming. Start generating that income. Just because it's a new park doesn't mean you got to charge top dollar. You don't want to charge top dollar and then start lowering your price. It's supposed to be the opposite. Okay, get it full, get it making money, because 100 space park with 10 people in it makes a heck of a lot less than a 50 space park with 30 people in it, right? So I'd rather have 30 people in there, $10 less a night at the end of the day. And once it gets full, what are you doing? You're raising rents again. Okay. And sometimes the goal is not to just continually raise rents. Once again, there's more way to grab other opportunities and profits through rentals, through propane, through, the convenience store, snacks, food, drinks. I mean, you name it. There are endless opportunities to generate other income outside of just your nightly stay. So, I really hope that this helps you really think about the differences in pricing and where you should be, pricing your park. Now, every state, every area is different. Do your due diligence, do your research. There's another good tool, rvparkiq.com. It's a software, and you can go look at all of the different RV parks out there and see what their pricing is, see how many sites they had, when they were built. It's a really cool tool. It's a really cool tool. And outside of that, I wish you guys all the best. I wish everybody to come up with the perfect pricing model so that they can fill their park and make Uber's amount of money. That is my dream for you. And in the meantime, if this video helped you out, check out this next one. You're gonna like it. I promise you. Have a good day. Be blessed. Happy camping and building RV parks.